As years passed, Israel and his family moved homes, moving from Shechem back to Bethel, where the Lord God had first appeared to Israel as he ran from his brother Esau, and then going on to Ephrath. During their journey to Ephrath, however, Rachel conceived and bore Israel a second son, who would also be her last, for Rachel died shortly after giving birth to that child, and the child was named Benjamin. Rachel was buried in Bethlehem, which was on the way to Ephrath, and Israel set up a memorial stone over her grave, a memorial stone that can be seen there to this day. Soon after this, Israel's father Isaac also died. But Isaac died at a good old age, for he lived to be 180 years of age, after which he joined his ancestors in death, and was buried by his sons Esau and Israel, who was formerly called Jacob. At this time Israel had 12 sons. The sons of Leah from oldest to youngest were Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel from oldest to youngest were Joseph and Benjamin. The sons of Rachel's servant, Bilhah, from oldest to youngest, were Dan and Naphtali. And the sons of Zilpah, Leah's servant, from oldest to youngest, were Gad and Asher. And so, once upon a time, when Joseph, the son of Israel and Rachel, was 17 years old, he often tended his father's flocks. He worked for his half-brothers, the sons of his father's wives, Leah, Bilhah, and Zilpah, and would always report to his father some of the bad things his brothers were doing. Israel loved Joseph more than any of his other children. Thus he had a special gift made for Joseph, a beautiful robe of many colors. When his brothers saw it, they were green with envy. They hated Joseph because their father loved him more than the rest of them, and so they never said a kind word to him. One night Joseph had a dream which he told his brothers, saying, "Listen to this dream I had. We were out in the field tying up bundles of grain. Suddenly my bundle stood up, and your bundles all gathered around and bowed low before mine. And his brothers rebuked him and said to him, 'Are you indeed to reign over us?' And they hated him more than ever. But Joseph had another dream, and again he told it to his brothers, but this time he also told his father Israel. And Joseph said to them, 'Listen, I had another dream, and this time the sun and moon and 11 stars were bowing down to me.' And Israel replied, 'What is this dream that you have dreamt? Shall I and your mother and your brothers indeed come to bow ourselves to the ground before you?' But while his brothers were jealous of Joseph and dismissed his dreams, his father kept the dream in his mind and wondered what it meant. One day, when Joseph's brothers went to pasture their father's flock near Shechem, his father said to him, 'As you know, your brothers are grazing the flocks near Shechem. Come, I shall send you to them. Go and see if all is well with your brothers and with the flocks, and bring word back to me.' And Joseph replied, 'Very well, father.' So Joseph set off from the valley of Hebron, and when he arrived at Shechem, a man found him wandering around in the fields and asked him, 'What do you seek?' And he answered, 'I seek my brothers. Tell me, I pray you, where they are feeding their flocks.' And the man said to him, 'They have gone away, for I heard them say, "Let us go to Dothan." Thus Joseph went after his brothers and found them at Dothan. But they saw him in the distance, and before he reached them, they plotted to kill him and said to one another, "Here comes the dreamer. Come now, let us kill him and throw him into one of the pits and say that a vicious animal has devoured him. Then we shall see what becomes of his dreams." But Reuben intervened and tried to rescue the lad so as to take him back to their father. For he said to them, "Let us not take his life. Do not shed his blood. Throw him into this pit in the wilderness, but do not lay a hand on him." So when Joseph reached his brothers, they stripped him of his robe, the robe of many colors that he wore. Then they grabbed him and threw him into an empty pit. And as they sat down to eat a meal, they looked up and saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead. Their camels were carrying spices, balm, and myrrh on their way down to Egypt. And Judah, one of the brothers, said to the others, "What shall we gain if we kill our brother and cover up his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother, our own flesh." And his brothers listened to him. Thus, when the Ishmaelites, who were Midianite traders, came by, Joseph's brothers pulled him out of the pit and sold him to them for 20 pieces of silver, and the traders took him to Egypt. Reuben was away when his brothers sold Joseph, and when he returned some time later to get Joseph out of the pit, he saw that Joseph was not there, and he tore his clothes in grief. Then he went back to his brothers and said, "The boy is gone. What shall I do now?" And so they took Joseph's robe, slaughtered a goat and dipped the robe in the blood. Then they took the ornate robe back to their father and said, "This is what we found. Examine it to see whether it is your son's robe." Alas! Israel recognized it and cried out, "It is my son's robe. A vicious animal has devoured him. Joseph has surely been torn to pieces." And Israel tore his clothes and put on a sackcloth and mourned his son for many days. All his sons and daughters came to comfort him, but he would not be comforted, for he said to them, "No, I will go down into the grave, mourning for my son." Meanwhile, the Midianites sold Joseph in Egypt to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh and captain of the guard.